narcissistic parenting, emotional incest, and complex, post-traumatic stress disorder. Narcissistic parents want you to remain their psychological slave. A very subtle way to create damage in children is to turn the chosen scapegoat child into a parent. This process is called parentification, not to be confused with parenting. Parentification is a form of role reversal in which a scapegoat is inappropriately given the role of meeting the emotional and/or physical needs of the narcissistic parent. A scapegoat child will often give up his or her own need for comfort, attention, and guidance in order to accommodate the emotional needs of the narcissistic parent. In parentification, the parent gives up what they are supposed to do as a parent and transfers that responsibility to the scapegoat child. Hence, the scapegoat child becomes parentified. Should we be forced to care for our elderly parents? Slavery has been abolished, and you cannot be forced to serve as a caretaker because it's called involuntary servitude. It is as illegal as can be imagined. Have no fears establishing your freedom from your narcissistic family. You are a slave to no one. As an adult, you must know this by now. If you do not, tell yourself this every day. You are a unique human being. Love this person who is you, this small child you have known all of your life. You must not give in to guilt, shame, or even the natural feeling of responsibility. Types of parentification. Emotional parentification happens when a child is made responsible for looking after the emotional and psychological needs of the narcissistic parents and the golden children's siblings. This type of parentification forces the scapegoat child to meet the emotional needs of their parent and usually other siblings. This kind of parentification is the most destructive because it robs the child of his or her childhood and sets him or her up to have a series of dysfunctions that will incapacitate him or her in life. This can include cases where the parent begins to confide in the child, discussing their own adult problems and issues, and effectively using the child as a surrogate spouse or therapist. This is also known as emotional incest. This can especially happen when a woman is not having her emotional needs met by her husband. She can gravitate towards trying to get these needs met from her son. It is as if the son becomes emotionally her surrogate husband. This type of relationship can be the equivalent of emotional incest. An innocent child is exploited by the parent, and it creates a form of emotional and psychological abuse. In this role, the child is put into the practically impossible role of meeting the emotional and psychological needs of the parent. Parentified children have to suppress their own needs. This comes at the expense of having normal development and causing a lack of a healthy emotional bond. These children will have complex, post-traumatic stress disorder from years of daily abuse and difficulties having normal adult relationships in their future. Physical parentification, also called instrumental parentification. When a child takes up this role, he or she meets physical or instrumental needs of the malignant narcissistic family. This can include duties such as cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, paying bills, managing the household budget, and dispensing medications. The child relieves the anxiety experienced normally by a parent, both parents, and the golden siblings that are not functioning correctly. The child may take care by taking over many or all the physical responsibilities of the parent. This is not the same as a child learning responsibility through assigned tasks. The difference is that the parent robs the child of his childhood by forcing him or her to be an adult caregiver with little or no opportunity to just be a child. Child is made to feel as a surrogate parent over the siblings and parent. What not to do. Don't be ashamed or feel compelled to keep family secrets. Don't second-guess yourself with what-ifs. Focus on what you can do to break free from the abuse. Don't accept your situation as normal. Don't apologize for being a child or for having child's thoughts, feelings, and reactions. Don't feel guilty about your situation. You are, or were, an innocent child. It's not your fault. what to do. Expose them for what they do and what they are. Recognize you have the right to keep abusive family members at arm's length once you are an adult. Forgive yourself for any negative feelings you hold about your childhood or parents and find ways to process them. Try to find opportunities where you can be a kid again and situations where you are accepted for who you really are. How it feels. Children are often anxious to please their parents, and a parentified child may even feel honored initially by being treated like a grown-up and entrusted with responsibility for the narcissistic family. However, the child will generally suffer from having his or her own emotional needs neglected and from being compelled to live up to the burden of expectation. Parentified children may struggle with lingering resentment, explosive anger, and difficulty in forming trusting relationships with peers, issues which often follow them into adulthood. Forming close, trusting romantic and spousal relationships may be particularly difficult. Future problems as adults. Intense anger. Parentified children can become very angry persons. Sometimes this adult child may not know why they are angry, but will be angry at others, especially their friends, boyfriend or girlfriend, spouse, and children. They can have explosive anger or passive anger, especially when another adult happens to put expectations that might trigger the parental wounds of emotional exploitation. Difficulty with adult attachments. The parentified adult child can experience hardship in connecting with friends, spouse, and his or her children. This person could be operating out of deficits in knowing how to attach. Hence he or she could find it difficult to experience healthy intimacy in relationships. Relationships will tend to be distorted on some level. Watch out for these characteristics. Being caring and trying to work with a narcissist is useless for anyone who feels inclined to help them. Narcissist parents take ownership of their children's successes. Narcissist parents struggle with empathy and emotional connection. Narcissists often use emotional blackmail. Narcissistic parents must always be in control. 3 possible scenarios for children with unresolved issues because of narcissist parents. Children of narcissists rarely have their own emotional needs met, and if the issue goes unresolved, one of 3 scenarios typically results. 1. These children will become parents with narcissistic traits themselves, using their own children as a means of attempting to fulfill their unmet needs, thus perpetuating the cycle. 2. They will become what is called an inverted narcissist or a covert narcissist. In this case, they remain the codependent and will actually seek out relationships with narcissists, despite the abuse they may experience. 3. Rarely, few children of narcissistic parents do manage to break the narcissist circle or the dependency pattern and become the creators in their own lives. As you heal, you learn that you belong to yourself, that you are genuine and precious. There is and never will be anyone like you on the face of the earth ever again. Let this truth sink deep inside of you. You will find your way along the path to freedom. You survived terror, desecration, and desolation. You are the one who did it through each moment, days, months, years, and decades. That deserves the deepest respect in society. I have decided to make this video to validate the trauma from over decades of abuse, which resulted in financial and emotional problems along with complex, post-traumatic stress disorder. The malignant family, in conjunction with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and the 2 golden children's siblings, in the beginning of the abuse, elected me as the emotional support structure for my malignant narcissistic mother. In my adulthood, I now realize that 67% of my net earnings were used to care for the malignant family structure, including also that father. I hope this information provides you with courage to take a stand or fight for yourself and for your freedom. There are creatures who advise people to avoid taking a stand against malignant narcissists when fighting for freedom from the abuse. The decision is yours. To be a slave, or to have courage and put an end on the malignant abuse inflicted upon you in form of slavery, called narcissistic parenting. Thank you for watching this video. Please, remember, don't be afraid of narcissists, and that knowledge is power.